Hello, friends. Hope you're doing well. So, today I want to talk about orcs. Um, so, if you're not familiar, I play Warhammer 40,000, which is it's a tabletop army game, miniature war game. The best way I can explain it to you is like, um, it's like, um, it's like if you wanted to play a game of Risk, but you had to build a model train set before you were allowed to play. Um, because you have to build the miniatures that you play with, and then you build them, and then you have, this is just the rule book just for the orcs. It's pretty thick. The actual full rule book is, oh, you can see the kind of camera in the reflection, that's kind of neat. The actual rule book is a lot thicker. It's probably twice as thick as this. Of course, it's not all rules, there's a lot of lore in here. And there's a lot of, just data sheets. So if we flip, you got, so there's a lot of pictures and, it's not just like wall-to-wall rules, but it is very textbooky. So Orks is one of 3 armies that I play, technically 4 armies that I play personally, because this camera just seems so dark to me all of a sudden. I don't remember it being this dark. And I have to turn the light up, which is is it the, I don't know what the deal is here. Why are you so dark, camera? Anyway, it's just so dark. That's weird. I think it's because I got the light usually on this side. Is that gonna make a difference? It makes a little difference. It's a little better, I guess. I think that's all I had to do. Also, the computer screen's not on, which usually makes a difference, but that in the back looks extra dark. Neither here nor there. This makes a fun noise though when you tap on it. I have to do a tapping video with that. Anyway. So, ooh, shiny thing. Okay, so, Warhammer tabletop miniature game. It's a lot of rules. I play Orks. I play Space Marines, which are the 2 biggest factions. I also play Imperial Knights, which are the biggest models. So that's the other biggest faction. And Chaos Knights, which most Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights can switch back and forth. You could be like, this is this or this is, because it's just the same model, but now he's evil, which is kind of fun. Although Chaos Knights have better rules, they're more fun to play. Anyway, I also have a Tau army that I don't really. I have 1,000 points of Tau, but it's I got a couple games in with it, and I just didn't like how they play. Where it's kind of just you can't just sit back and shoot stuff, which is in my head that's what I wanted, but the way it works out, they're just not good at shooting, which is weird. That's an army where their whole shtick is they're really good at shooting. It's they're not good at shooting though. Almost everybody else shoots better than them. Almost including the orcs. I feel like my orc shooting is better. Even though the orcs have, so in the game, you have something called a ballistic skill, which, so you have a number of attacks, and then a ballistic skill. You roll the dice equal to the number of attacks. So you'll roll, say you have 4 attacks, you'll roll 4 dice. The ballistic skill is what you're trying to match on the dice. So most orc shooting is on a 5 or better. So you would roll the dice, and if you get a 5 or a 6, then it's considered a hit. And then you work through the enemy's armor versus the strength of your gun to see if it pierces their armor. And then they have a chance to do what's called an armor save. So they roll the dice and see if their armor actually saved them the damage. So that's kind of the long and short of it. And there's some simple formulas there. So the strength of my gun versus your armor. So let's say my strength is 5, your armor toughness is 5. So I have to roll a 4 on the armor roll, the wound roll is what it's called. And then you'll have a defense, an armor save thing that you roll for that you're trying to get, which could be a 2, 3, 4. Sometimes it's a 5. Sometimes it's like a 6, which is not great. But anyway, that's kind of like the basics of how shooting works in the game. But orcs are fun and silly, and the lore is just rich and stupid, and it's just, there's a lot to like here with orcs. They have a lot of really cool models, which is good. They also play in a variety of ways. So you can either play very vehicle heavy, and they kind of have this like Mad Max shtick about them, where they kind of just like steal shit and slam it together, and like it becomes, you know, like a little drag racer that can teleport, which is wild. Because the lore is sort of like the basics of the lore, and forgive me if I get this wrong for all you Warhammer like lore people out there. But like the basics, how it's been explained to me is orcs have a psychic ability, but they don't know they have a psychic ability. So if enough orcs believe in something, it just works. So that's kind of a fun little shtick. And so like they'll just scrap together a bunch of crap, and like they're like, this is a helicopter now, and everyone's like, okay, that makes sense. And so some of their stuff like breaks the rules of gravity. You know, like they do a lot of teleporting tricks, which is silly. And then the whole shtick is they just like to fight. They're also non-binary because they are technically sentient mushrooms, which is fun. And they just like to fight, and you know, so they're just very angry mushrooms is what they are. So it's just it's a lot of weird and silly, and in a game with the lore setting where it's like you're either like extreme fascists or like chaos anarchists, and there's like no in between. Orcs is just like this silly little thing that just like floats around and just wants to blow stuff up, which is great, and that's fun and silly. Whereas the Space Marines are like super fascists, and then, you know, the Knights, the Imperial Knights, are just big fascists, giant robots. So that's fun. Yeah, just a weird video. I didn't think about this at all. I was just like walking in here, and I was like, I want to talk about orcs today, because I spent all day building orcs, because it's 4th of July, so we watched Lord of the Rings, because my girlfriend had the day off, and she loves Lord of the Rings, and so we watched the extended version of Lord of the Rings. And you're like, which one? Yeah, we watched all 3 of them, and the extended version of all 3 of them. I think we started at like 1 o'clock. Yeah, it's like 12 hours of TV when you account for like breaks, and like we made dinner, you know, and she took a shower at one point. Yeah, so it's funny because I like nerd stuff, and I like, you know, I've been in the nerd realm for a long time, but I had never actually seen the movies until we started dating, and even then I think I only watched them for the first time like this year in the last 365 days. So this was only the second time I have seen them, and so I'm like asking questions, and she's like, how do you not know? I'm like, this is the second time I've seen this movie, like I need you to know that, because I tried to watch the first one when it came out, and I fell asleep, I just wasn't into it, and you're gonna hate me for this, but that really hasn't changed a whole lot. I don't, if people love them, that's more for them. The fantasy, something about the fantasy setting just doesn't. I just never been super interested in the fantasy setting. I read the Redwall books as a kid, and like that got me going, and I liked Game of Thrones, but like most fantasy stuff just doesn't click for me. I like the sci-fi stuff. I like, give me space orcs that can teleport and have big chunky robots. It's just silly, and that's what I want. I want space. Give me space. I'm just gonna open it a random page. They have space pirate orcs. Space pirate orcs. How could you not love that? Some orcs don't fit into normal clan society. They might be a bit too mean and spiteful. They might have funny ideas about shiny loot being more valuable than teeth. Some can't get their heads around the idea of those bigger or meaner than them or their natural betters. Such orcs soon find themselves outcast, becoming mercenary freebooters instead. Space. Pirate. Orcs. What's not to love? What else is in here that I can tell you about orcs? Look at this thing. It's a plane that they turn into a car. What else is combat patrol? Finding weird stuff to tell you about orcs. These are okay. I built these today. Put this in front. You can't really see. I built these things today. A bunch of killer cans. They're little goblins in trash cans that have guns and big saw blade arms and stuff. It's weird and awesome and fun and cool. And they have silly rules. And I like them. And my goal is to ride. You can only take, in Warhammer 40k, there's some units you can take only one of, and there's some units you can take 7 of. Those are called battle line units. Then you can also, everything else, you can take 3. So the killer cans come in teams of 3 or 6. So you can take 18 of them, and my goal is to run 18 of them. And I'm getting close to that. I'm building them slowly. I think I have 9 now. And then I've got another box of them, maybe 2 boxes. So close soon we will have, and we will run all 18 of my trash can goblins, and it'll be great. And I'll just be. This video got real weird. It's got real off. Yeah, I don't know. I need to have a plan. If I make another Warhammer video where I talk about the armies I play, I am not. What's funny though is like for me to like not be able to like quantify what I like about orcs so much. Like orcs is the team I do the best with. Like I keep a nerdy spreadsheet of all my Warhammer games. My orc win percentage is like 60%. So although they're very good in the game right now. They have got some pretty good rules right now, and that makes people mad. That's the one thing I don't really like about Warhammer is it seems like it's been happening a lot lately. It's just like people complaining about this or that or the other thing, and you're just like, yeah, there's a lot to complain about. But like, there's 17 different armies you could play as in 40k, and then there's another, I don't know, 10 or 12 in Age of Sigmar, which is the other thing. So they have 29 different armies, which I think that's really the core of the problem. Is like, how do you balance 17 armies against each other to like make a fair game? Like, someone's gonna be slightly overpowered. And the other thing is just like the way the game appeals to like autistic people is like there's just these rules interactions that you could tell they weren't you could tell the people that make the game were not counting on people being like, oh, well, it doesn't say this. And that's how a lot of people will read the rules. Like, well, it doesn't say this. And so that lets me do X, Y, Z. And you're like, that's not in the spirit of the game. And then they'll come out with an FAQ or whatever because for whatever reason they put all the rules in books, which is the worst way to do it. And you can get it on an app. But, like, you gotta buy the book to get it on the app. It's silly. And so they can't just, like, auto-update it and be like, hey, that's wrong, don't do that. They just do these every 3 months or whatever. They're like, here's a rules update, and they're like, don't do that, we didn't anticipate you, we didn't want you to do that, you're doing it wrong. And people are like, this ruins the game. And you're like, you read the rules in such a way that it was rule breaking to begin with. But see, now I'm complaining about complainers, and that's just Inception complaining, and we don't like that. That's just as bad. Something, Phil. Anyway, this video got super rambly and very spaghetti brained. I was watching Lord of the Rings all day, so it was whatever I was gonna talk about was gonna be spaghetti. So yeah, that's it. That's all I got. My bathroom, for some reason my toilet is like running every now and then intermittently, so that's fun. Anyway, that is it for today. I like orcs. Ask me questions about orcs. I'll make a better video when my brain isn't tired from watching Lord of the Rings for 12 hours. Anyway, I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a good 4th. I hope you have all your fingers. And I hope you didn't scare any dogs with your fireworks. So, my dog was scared. So if you lit fireworks, you might have scared my dog. And we're gonna have words. Anyway. Yeah, hope you're doing well. And if not, hope that turns out for you real soon. I'll see you next time. Probably with, I'll take notes before I make it. Anyway, have a go.